It's Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button down below. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Again, please share these videos. Let's continue to get the message out there. At least let's get people to think a little bit, open up their minds a little bit. So keep sharing these videos on your social media. Keep sharing them to family and friends. I appreciate it. And keep the comments coming, because those comments continue to wake people up. Those comments continue to make people think outside of the box. And because of you and your comments and your participation in this channel, you are really waking people up and actually saving people from financial collapse. So keep the comments coming. I want to get right into this first article coming from CNBC. In fact, before we even do that, I want to comment on the markets today. Markets across the board up today. Why were they up? Was it some great economic news? No. Was it some great geopolitical news? No, it wasn't. It was because the Fed is not going to raise rates. The Fed did not mention yesterday in their meeting that they would be raising rates this year, higher for longer. But the good news is that Jerome Powell says he's not going to be raising rates this year. So that's all the markets needed today to look at for some hopium, is that the Fed's not raising rates this year. Although, do you believe anything the Fed says at this point? Remember, it was 6, 7, 8 cuts for this year. We've gotten 0 so far. We'll probably get 0 for the entire year. So to think that a rate hike is out of the question, I don't think it is. I think we have a better chance of getting a rate hike than a rate cut this year. That's my humble opinion. But getting back to this first article on CNBC, why hundreds of U.S. banks may be at risk of failure. Markets up across the board today, but in this article it says 282 banks face the dual threat of commercial real estate loans and potential losses tied to higher interest rates. We know the number is much higher than 282 banks that face this threat. A majority of U.S. banks are in big trouble. Many would argue they're insolvent. But yet, even with this news, markets across the board up. I think the banking system is much worse than most people think or want to think. Remember, the Fed is lending billions of dollars in overnight lending to these banks, yet we're being told everything is fine, yet the Fed has nearly $8 trillion on its balance sheet also. It's broke, and it's still lending money to banks. New York Community Bank loan defaults surge 400% as rent-stabilized buildings bleed. New York Community Bank has seen $800 million in defaulted loans. And we're being told that the banking system is in good shape. Maybe banks should start looking at their mortgages. Maybe they should start looking at the bad car loans they made. Getting back to New York Community, a $48 billion portfolio of commercial real estate loans, which include office and mainly multifamily. Their problems are collecting rents and operation costs exploding. How many banks are in the same predicament as New York Community Bank? Probably a lot more than a couple hundred, that's for sure. Now, here's another one today from CNBC. Pelaton CEO Barry McCarthy to step down, company to lay off 15% of staff as it looks to refinance debt. So they're basically going to lay off around 400 employees to bring spending back in line. Company stock is down 92% from when Barry McCarthy took over. Do you remember when this stock was exploding, when everybody was saying that you need to be buying Peloton and you need to be buying a Peloton bike, you need to be spinning at home? Remember, everybody was getting a stimulus check. Nobody had to go to work. Nobody had to pay rent. Nobody had to pay a mortgage. Everybody could stay at home on their Peloton bike and spin all day. Those days are long gone. Isn't it amazing how quickly things can happen? Just a couple years ago, this company was booming. Now, more layoffs, down 92% from when Barry McCarthy took over as CEO. And this company is probably going to be in very, very big trouble very, very soon. Mortgage rates jump again to 7.22%. This on Fox Business. Wow, demand plunges. I thought the housing market was booming. I thought that, we should buy a house today. I thought prices are going up. Prices can go up. You can ask $1 million for your house. Great. Are you going to get it? No, probably not. People are asking these ridiculous numbers on these homes, and these homes continue to sit longer and longer, days on market. Nobody's making offers. Nobody can get financing. At some point, somebody is going to have to sell. There will be a number of sellers that do have to sell. There will be a run to the exits. And when that day happens, you're going to see prices begin to fall, plunge in housing. Think about the 14, 15 million short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBOs out there. Many of them not renting at all. These people are falling behind. These homes are going to have to come on the market at some point. People are trying to hang on. They've borrowed money out of their homes. They've done HELOCs. They've done everything they can to continue to hold on to their lifestyle, to hold on to their short-term rentals. And the day of reckoning is coming, ladies and gentlemen. The day of reckoning is coming. There's an article here from the San Francisco Gate. And it's titled, "Wasn't Meant to Be. What Happened to the Best Place in California to Buy an Airbnb?" And if you've been following the Airbnb or the short-term rental market, you know Palm Springs has been in the news quite a bit lately. Short-term rentals in this area, no doubt over the last few years, have pushed up sales. It's pushed up prices of real estate. And now people are having to get out because there's been a big change. The FOMO, no doubt, in my area is over. The frenzied real estate market of 2021 and 2022 here, it's over. And, everybody who wanted a short-term rental here is now beginning to regret it because guess what? Now, 2 years later, in many towns here, they're banning them or they have been banned. So homes just a couple years ago that were selling for a lot of money over listing price, not happening. The party is over. Just 2 short years. Just as quickly as Pelaton has plunged, now the short-term market in the Palm Springs area has plunged. Sales have halted and prices have stagnated. Some areas out here have banned short-term rentals completely. Palm Springs requires permits. And if you sell your house and it's an Airbnb, the person that buys it or the institution that buys it, that permit doesn't go along with the house. It's not grandfathered in. So they have to get back on a list and apply for a permit in order to rent that house out as a short-term rental. And I'm not sure what the short-term rentals are now. If it's, I don't think now in Palm Springs you can do weekends. I think it's 60 days or more. I could be wrong about that. But what I do know is it is very difficult to get a permit in the city of Palm Springs. They are not grandfathered in. If you sell the house with a permit, the new owner, the new entity has got to apply for a permit, and that could take years to get a permit if they can get one at all. So again, many cities out here in the Coachella Valley have banned them completely or have changed the criteria to where you cannot do weekends. It's 60 days plus. And you've got to have a permit, and you're going to have to apply for a permit, which could take years. So it's a complete mess now. So a lot of these people who bought these short-term rentals are trying to get out. Guess what now? They're not worth what they paid for them. Now they're in trouble because they can't rent these homes and they can't sell these homes for what they got for them. So they're in very, very big trouble. So this is going to affect the comps. But just think a couple years ago how it affected comps. If you were just a family trying to buy your first home, you had to deal with these institutions or entities or investors coming in here trying to buy short-term rentals and offering, $100,000 plus on a home because they wanted to have a short-term rental. Now these same people, same entities are trying to get out, and this is going to begin to push prices down. It's amazing what can happen in just a couple years. Here's another one. The new president energy rules will raise the cost of a new home by $31,000. So we have new HUD rules that are going to raise the cost of construction with stricter building codes. How do you feel about that? But not to worry. HUD says that taxpayers will help cover the costs. How do you feel as a taxpayer? Do you feel that you should be obligated to help cover the cost of these new HUD rules, that we should be covering cost at all for any of this. I mean, you're taxed for everything. Your tax money is going everywhere, and now it's going to go to help cover the cost of these new HUD rules, so that these builders will get some kind of tax break thanks to you, so that they can sell these homes at a higher cost. It's a complete mess. It's unbelievable. When is the taxpayer just going to have enough? I mean, the taxpayer, for the most part, is in the red every week, and they just want more and more money from you to finance more and more of this stuff. So we should finance a $31,000 increase with these new HUD rules because the president thinks so or believes so. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on this? What a disaster. Buyers taking on riskier adjustable rate mortgages as affordability worsens. This is on Fox Business. You know, if you do this and you cannot afford your payment to increase quickly, don't risk doing this. This ended very, very bad back in 2008. Many people had adjustable rate mortgages. These rates went up. People, they were taken by surprise and lost everything. If rates increase, your payment, the borrower, is going to increase very, very quickly, and this is very, very dangerous. You know, they're going to tell you that, look, the Fed's going to cut, mortgage rates are going to go down. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. They can go up just as quick as they can go down, and you are really gambling here by doing this. If you cannot afford the payment to increase quickly, do not do this. If you can, and you want to risk it, go ahead. But just remember that these payments may not go down. They may go up, and you have to be ready for that. Thursday, humor, jobless claims, the hedge today, 208,000. That's how many people last week filed for first-time jobless claims. The same number as the week prior. So what we have, 5 out of 6 weeks where I believe the number was 212. Now we've had 2 weeks in a row where it's 208,000. Is this reality, ladies and gentlemen? You know, 5 out of 6 weeks, 212. Now we've had 2 weeks back to back of 208,000. And when you look at the amount of companies, especially these larger companies, laying off, and we're not even looking at smaller companies and how many layoffs we're seeing with smaller mom and pop businesses or companies with under 100 employees. But we see these big companies, they're laying off so many people, and to think that this number is only 208,000. But remember, this is the data that the Fed is going to be going off of. And as long as we have numbers like this, I don't see rate cuts happening. But I wonder if we get a new president next year. If we do, I don't know what's going to happen, but if we do, these numbers going to look like this, or are they going to be much bigger? I wonder. Cost of gasoline surges again under the president, up 18% in 4 months. How do you feel about that? That's putting a lot of squeeze on people. People that have to drive to work daily, especially out here in Southern California, it is not unlikely for somebody to drive 100 or 200 miles a day for work. And think about these gas prices, $5.15 for regular. I see oil's going down. It's at 78 and change today. It's gone way down, but I'm not seeing any relief at the pumps. But enjoy it while you can, because I do believe we're going to see $90+ oil this summer. There's too much happening. We've deprived our strategic petroleum reserves way too much, down 50%. And of course, we have way too much tension in the Middle East. One pipeline, one refinery gets hit by a missile, it's game over. You're going to be at $100 a barrel oil. But a lot happening. Feel free to comment on any of this stuff. I want to finish with this last article coming from USA Today. I read this a couple days ago. Wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it, but why not? I think we need to talk about it because, you know, 90%, 95% of everything we talk about is financial, what's happening economically. And I try to remind all of you and myself that this is just not an economic collapse, but we're going to see more of a societal collapse with the economic collapse. We are seeing pure evil. Demonic entities literally walking the face of the earth now, committing some of the most obscene crimes we have ever witnessed in our life. And it just seems to get more grotesque and worse by the day. And this article, I was reading this a couple days ago on USA Today about this gentleman involved in this gruesome killing in downtown Las Vegas. I believe it happened on Sunday. Colin Zeck, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Colin Zeck was booked into the Clark County Detention Center on Sunday. Zeck punched and struck Kenneth Brown in front of a business, a 7-Eleven. This happened in a 7-Eleven parking lot around 4:45 a.m. in Las Vegas, Sunday morning. The suspect, Zach, again, attacked this gentleman, Mr. Brown, knocking him to the ground, and then took his head and was bashing his head into the ground. And this is where it takes a very, very strange twist. People were calling in, reporting this, saying that this attacker, Zach, was actually eating the face off of his victim. Ate his ear, his nose, his face. Obviously, the victim had lost his life. Think about this happening. You're in Las Vegas in the morning at a bus stop, and you're witnessing this, calling from a bus stop, witnessing this take place in a 7-Eleven parking lot in Las Vegas. That a man just lost his life, and his attacker is now eating his face. And I don't want to be too gruesome here, but this is being reported in USA Today and many other outlets. And I just think about, how so many people are unprepared to deal with violence or confrontation. So in this fight, this attacker got on top of this man, Mr. Brown, grabbed his head and started slamming it into the ground. Now, Mr. Brown had maybe 6 months of jiu-jitsu, maybe less, maybe a couple months of jiu-jitsu under his belt. This probably wouldn't have happened and probably would have saved his life. No guarantee, that's for sure. But I know this. If I'm going to be in an altercation, I would much rather have as much jiu-jitsu and boxing in my background as I could versus none. Because you're going to resort back to your training. There's no guarantee, but wouldn't you at least want to have a chance? Wouldn't you want to at least have the odds in your favor that if you're in a confrontation and you don't have a pew-pew, if you don't have a tool, that you at least have your body in your hands to defend yourself? The attacker didn't have a gun, didn't have a knife. He just used his body and overpowered this gentleman and took his life and did a very grotesque, gruesome crime against this individual. Horrible, demonic, evil. This is why, again, why I'm so adamant that you're training, that you're getting some kind of defensive, combative skills, that you know how to use your body to defend yourself, that you're in shape, that you can use your hands, that if you don't have the tools with you, that you at least have your body and the right amount of training to at least give yourself a fighting chance, maybe to at least survive. Maybe you take some injuries, but you survive. Maybe you don't take injuries and you end it and choke this guy unconscious and walk away and this guy goes to jail, whatever the case may be. Or you can just get up and run. Maybe if you could have just got to your feet and got enough distance or enough space, you could have ran away and got to the phone or had somebody help you, or run to a building and lock a door, or get to your car, whatever the case may be. At least you have a chance to just sit there and do nothing about it, to go through life and have no training and no proficiency in defending yourself, or even your kids. Why are you not, giving your kids a fighting chance in life and having them go train too? I'm sure Mr. Brown didn't think that at 4:45 a.m. somebody was going to take his life and then eat his face, eat his ear and nose right off his face. I'm sure he didn't think that was ever going to happen to him. And most people out there don't think anything bad is ever going to happen to them. It just takes one time you're in a bad situation. And again, you're going to resort back to your training. And 99% of people out there are going to resort back to nothing. And that's why they're going to be a victim. Quite possibly losing their life, having something happen to them that's going to be a life-altering experience. Maybe they will be handicapped. Maybe they'll have PTSD. You've got to be training, ladies and gentlemen. I know that It's hard sometimes because of time and money, dedication, the pain, the sacrifice. But if you're going to go through this life right now, and if you really believe things are going to get bad, you better have the warrior mentality. You better start feeling the pain right now. You better start sweating right now. You better start learning how to take care of yourself right now, because the worst time to learn this stuff is out on the street at 4:45 in the morning or 4:45 p.m. when you're at a 7-Eleven, a bus stop, a shopping mall, your driveway, at your kid's school. That's the worst possible time to start training. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. This is the time right now to put the odds in your favor. This is the time right now to be getting the skills and learning right now. This is the time to be testing yourself, to be putting yourself in bad positions. The time to feel the pain right now, not down the road. I just think like the more you train, the more that you have somebody, trying to choke you out, somebody trying to punch you, somebody to try to submit you, being in very uncomfortable positions, being tired and exhausted and having to work through it. That's going to get you ready for a bad day, and you will survive it. You will conquer it. You will survive. You don't want to be like Mr. Brown. His family's probably devastated. He's lost his life. His family's never going to get over it. And this evil demon took his life. I wish Mr. Brown was trained. I wish he was prepared. I pray, rest in peace, Mr. Brown. I hope he's in heaven today. But I don't want to go out that way. That's not how I plan on leaving this earth. I don't know how I'm going, but it's not going to be like that. If I do, I'm going down at least in a huge fight, a big fighting chance. I'm just not going to go out without giving everything I have and having the skills to win. I'm going to leave it there today. It's just unbelievable what we're talking about today, how demonic it is, how evil it is. You've got to have the warrior mindset, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be training. You got to be doing it. Whether you like to or not. I don't go, oh man, I'm going to go box today. I'm going to go do jiu-jitsu today. Some people do. Some people love to do it. I don't look at it that way. I really don't want to do it, but I have to. And after I'm done, after an hour of training and I'm exhausted, first off, I feel great, but I feel like I accomplished something and I feel much more prepared. And I feel like, I pushed myself to do something I really didn't want to do. But now I'm a better human being for it. I'm a stronger human being for it, and I can protect my family much better because of it. You should be at the range. You should be on the mats. You should be doing everything you can right now with the time that you have. Take advantage of the time because it's running out. God bless. Stay safe. I don't want to rant any longer. Comment down below. It's getting hot, nearly 100 today. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to all of you soon.